Hi, this is Congressman Garamendi with our weekly report, and oh my, Congress is really sticking it to you now. They are really doing it to you. When you consider that the House of Representatives passed several weeks ago the repeal and replace legislation that would take 24 million people off the insurance rolls over the next decade, and maybe as many as 10 million immediately in the next couple of years, and put in place a senior tax if you're 50 years or older, causing premiums to run somewhere between $13,000 and $15,000 per person for seniors in the 50 to 65 age bracket. Well, all of us pray to live long enough to get to Medicare so that we actually have good, solid insurance. Right now, the Senate, as we speak at this moment, is taking up what they call the skinny repeal and replace piece of legislation. First of all, there's no replacement, just a repeal. The repeal amounts to a significant reduction in the number of people that are going to get insurance over the next decade. 16 million will not. And in addition to that, there'll be 20% increase across the board for all other insurance policies. These guys are crazy. There is absolutely no rational reason other than to try to maintain some phony campaign promise over the last 7 years that you're going to repeal and replace. There's no reason to do this. It's not good for the economy. Tens of thousands, in fact, probably several 100,000 jobs will be lost across the nation. Hospitals are going to close. In my district, in the rural parts of my district, it is guaranteed that the House repeal and replace, and quite probably the Senate repeal, skinny repeal, will result in hospital closures and clinic closures. Now, if they stay with the House version, we're talking about the biggest transfer of wealth ever by any piece of legislation. Nearly $1 trillion taken out of the pockets of you, middle-class Americans, and the poor, and transferred directly to the super wealthy. Oh yeah, Trump will love it. He will probably, and his children, probably receive somewhere in the range of $7, $8, $9 million a year tax reduction. And of course, the rest of the cabinet, the wealthiest cabinet ever in the history of this nation, will receive the same. It's going to hurt. I just received a letter from a woman in Yuba City. She's able to buy insurance on the exchange. She's able to afford it because she has the subsidy available to her. She wrote and said, "What's going to happen to me? I'm looking, if this does take place, because I'm over 50 years of age, the senior tax is going to hit, and I'm going to have to pay over $13,000 in order to get a policy. I can't afford that. I work hard. I got a lower middle income salary, but I'm not wealthy, and I know that they're going to seriously hurt me. I may not be able to get insurance." That's not unusual. I hear this all over the district, and all across this nation, the same story is being told over and over. So what are we going to do? Well, hopefully in the next hours, or maybe this day or early tomorrow, the Senate will fail to pass its replacement and reform and repeal. We'll see. If that's the case, then hopefully this whole thing is dead, and we can go about the business of really improving the Affordable Care Act. And there are many things we can do. Start with, hey, how about negotiating the price of drugs? There are many other things we can do. We know we need more doctors. We know we need more clinicians out there. So maybe we ought to have a good education program for them. And there's other things for small businesses. They do need relief. Small businesses have been hurt. The individual mandate needs to be enforced. We got to guarantee that the cost sharing reductions are guaranteed and available time after time. And most of all, the president has got to stop his insatiate attack on the Affordable Care Act, because it is causing the insurance companies to not know what to expect, and they have to price for the unexpected. That is that the cost sharing subsidies are gone, the cost sharing for individuals are gone, the individual mandates are gone. If that happens, the insurance companies are going to have to cause an enormous increase. Hang on. It's a terrible, terrible ride that the Republicans are putting us through. But I think we're going to overcome. I think that eventually the Congress of the United States and the Senate, I have no hope for the president, but I believe that eventually we'll get it straight and we'll do something good. Now, just imagine that if we put this much energy into infrastructure. Think what we could do. This much energy into improving our education system. or maybe vocational education and skills training, all the positive things we need to do. And by the way, how about attacking climate change? The amount of energy that's going into these programs that harm people is incredibly large, but it's being used for an obscene purpose. We'll see. Next week, presumably, we're out of session, so hopefully we'll be talking about a much more positive situation, and the Republicans have failed to do away with the Affordable Care Act. That their effort over these 7 years to kill the Affordable Care Act will have failed, and we can get on to doing something positive. Thank you. We'll see what happens.